I felt that he said to me that he's going to touch 5 areas in our setup. He's going to change. Now, let me put it this way: these 5 areas was the remnants of the old covenant that we just took and made new covenant or New Testament principles and said this is the way the church should be functioning. But in actual fact, our church was built on Old Testament and Old Covenant principles. So the first thing he said he's going to touch was the priest, and that was what he did. He took the priest out of the way for 6 months so that there was no central figure, no Levitical priesthood for people to relate to, and they were forced to stand before God. The second thing that he said he'll touch would be the Sabbath. And this thing of doing a particular thing on a particular day was what he worked against or did not want. And because he wanted, God's whole agenda was to force people to relate to him at all times, at all places, and not through anybody else. This is what it was all about. And although I preached that for many years, it never worked.
Yeah, as long as we're doing it on Sundays.
That's right.
Yeah, it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah. I tried my best, but nobody ever changed because I was always there, and the Sunday was always there. And then the third thing was the temple. To me, that would be the building. Now nobody ever believed in our church that the building is the church, but in our practice, everything revolved around what we were doing on Sunday. Worship team trained for Sunday. The ministry team trained for Sunday. I prepared for Sunday. And what else we did, the ministry to the poor and that kind of thing, was great. It happened. But it happened through a small core of people who were willing to make that kind of sacrifice. The rest of them were just like couch potatoes, looking at the game on TV and feeling that they've done the running and the exercise and the playing.
Which seems to be a real constant with the institution, isn't it? We always talk about 10% of the people do 90% of the work, and that just seems to transcend culture with that. Yeah,
true. The others are just hiding there. They just come and they feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
So it was the priest and the Sabbath and the temple, and then he said, I'm going to touch the sacrifices, which was the worship and the way we were worshiping. And what happened there was we said, Lord, show us what is relational, what is religion. And it was amazing. The first thing that was totally messed up was our intercessory meetings. They became dry, nothing ever happened. Where we used to have these major prophetic intercessory meetings, they changed. The second thing that was touched was our worship. And where we had, as a Vineyard Church, we had real contemporary worship and very good musicians, and everything always went smoothly. Suddenly, things just started to break up after we prayed this. And he touched that so that we disbanded the worship team and took away this place of worship that people could come to and connect and say, now we have worship for this week. And it was very interesting to see them floundering completely without this focal point of communal worship, where I believe the New Testament teaching is not about any worship services. The New Testament teaching is about worshiping every moment. And we, by keeping the worship alive and this nice experience, we focus the people in the wrong place.
That's so true. What we call worship really isn't biblically what worship is. It's not singing songs. Right. It's the life lived under Father.
That's right.
Now, what was the fifth thing?
And the fifth thing was the giving, the tithing of the Old Testament. And I already, in the series that I preached on generosity, I was very vocal and very clear on my personal beliefs in regard to that. And that is just the same thing. Everything belongs to God. And we should not put a tithing check to the exact cent into the tithing box and allow a committee somewhere to decide what's going to happen to our money. We should be giving to people. People should be giving to people. and support the kind of ministries that they really feel are feeding them. And they should ask God where they should be giving. And because mammon is such a powerful force, when people start to pray about where their money should go to, a lot of other things fall into place, and the Holy Spirit just starts to show different facets of incorporating our experience with Jesus into our daily lives, because money is the thing that talks.
And you told me tonight, just in casual conversation, we're driving back from a meeting, that you know some people who help feed 70 to 80 families in townships where the primary caregiver has been lost to AIDS or some other reason. That's part of what you're talking about. People's money began to go directly to where God asked them to give, and not just, I can throw it at an institution somewhere and let them spend. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.